Mr. President, I will deliver a shortened statement and the full version would be submitted to the Secretariat for record. At the outset, we thank the co-facilitators, the PRs of Finland and Morocco for their valuable efforts in steering an extremely complex negotiation and for seeking to preserve consensus on an issue that must remain above politics. We acknowledge the role of all UN compact entities in supporting member states throughout this process. India called for adoption of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism a decade before GCTS was first adopted in 2006. The absence of a universally agreed legal framework continues to hobble collective action against terrorism. The time has come to demonstrate political will to conclude the CCIT. India has been a victim of cross-border terrorism for decades. Our people have paid a terrible price, and this experience has shaped India's zero-tolerance approach. Irrespective of any grievance, political cause, or strategic calculation, terrorism in all its forms and manifestations must be condemned unequivocally. Mr. President, India would like to underline 6 key priorities. First, the international community must reject double standards in countering terrorism. Second, countering terror financing and strengthening implementation of FATF standards is vital. Third, misuse of new and emerging technologies by terrorists demands urgent attention. It is disheartening that the 9th GCTS review has no acceptable landing point on such misuse, especially during the course of the last 3 years. Fourth, the victims of terrorism must get the dignity and rehabilitation that they deserve. Fifth, international cooperation and capacity building efforts must be aligned to the requirements of the benefiting country. And sixth, India condemns all acts motivated by prejudice or phobias directed against ethnicity, nationality, geography, faith, or race. As a multilateral forum of universal membership, the UN should not have a narrow lens. Mr. President, the Delhi Declaration on countering the use of new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes has served global good, and 2 of its pillars have been implemented as the Abu Dhabi and Algeria guiding principles. The 9th review of the GCTS was held hostage to petty bean counting in our view, and does not recognize the resultant global public good from these guiding principles. India has worked to strengthen the global focus on terror financing. We have supported capacity building, South-South cooperation, and strengthening of multilateral frameworks. India believes that counter-terrorism should not be hollowed out by false equivalences or politicized narratives. We must address the conditions conducive to the spread of terrorism, yet never confuse context with justification. We must uphold human rights and rule of law, yet also recognize that the first human right is the right to life, and terrorism is the most direct assault on it. Mr. President, India is supportive of a more streamlined and precise GCTS with no redundancies and balance across its 4 pillars. India works closely with UNOCT and other UN compact entities and financially contributes to capacity building. We stand ready to work with all member states so that the United Nations speaks with one voice against terrorism. We can combat the menace of terrorism only if there is no distinction between good or bad terrorists, if sanctions regimes function objectively, and if exclusivist frameworks, new terminologies, and false priorities are thwarted and set aside. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, terror anywhere threatens peace everywhere. This August Assembly must provide leadership to combat this menace. We sincerely hope that better sense would prevail, and we will have, the next time, a document by consensus. I thank you.